Another awesome trading week this week. We still have some profits running here on the pound US dollar short trade that we took in the daily market breakdown videos. Let's get right into this week's Forex forecast. Starting the weekly Forex forecast off with the US dollar index. The past week, the banks added 2,264 long contracts, and they also got rid of 448 short contracts. Looking at the daily chart, very steep momentum here. I don't really call this quite a trend. A trend looks more like obvious, peaks and valleys, where this to me is just an overextended momentum slash trend, I would say. But so it is pretty overextended on the daily chart. I was kind of expecting a move down, but honestly, on the 4-hour time frame on the DXY, there's really no sign of slowing down. If you look back here, last week's price action, we broke this high above, created this demand at about 104.21. I thought we were going to actually push down to this demand, and we couldn't quite come in contact with that demand, but that was all right. We actually ended up pushing up, creating a new high, and this is what I like to call a very nice looking uptrend. So on the 4-hour chart, there's really no signs of the dollar turning around. Yes, it is extended to the upside, but as long as we have this 4-hour trend to the upside, I think day trading long on any US dollar pairs are completely fine. So as long as you are day trading long the dollar, not short, it is going to be with the trend. So if you're looking for shorts, just remember you are trading against the overall trend, at least on the 4-hour chart. Remember, the daily chart is overextended, but the good news is on the weekly chart here, we clearly have a lot of profit margin. I know that's a huge move, up to about 110. But I'm just trying to show you guys the bigger perspective here that we do have profit margin. There's really not a lot to stop price right here. So we could easily kind of fill, this gap right here. So that's really what I'm seeing on the DXY. So as long as like I said, to kind of summarize here, we have profit margin to the upside. We have a very nice 4-hour and 1-hour uptrend with demand zones below. So what that means is that day trading longs, the US dollar, are completely fine. On to the forecast for the Euro US dollar. The past week, the banks got rid of 23,356 long contracts, and they also got rid of 205 short contracts. Now, I wanted to kind of show you guys the bigger perspectives here first. If you look, this is my weekly chart, top left, and this is my daily chart, bottom left. And as you can see, we'll do a top down here on the weekly. We are into some sort of weekly buying area. We actually just removed this. If you look, I have a green zone, which is an actual zone. This was just a little extra zone I drew, and we actually ended up breaking this zone this past week. And I'm not too surprised because this area overall is, very, very used up. We had the original demand. It wasn't even good demand, and we reacted off of it multiple times. So now we're coming in for the, 1, 2, third test. So I'm not going to lie, I kind of am expecting this to break lower. And long-term targets would be, down to weekly demand all the way down at about 1. So that's like my long-term approach. But remember, since we are in weekly demand, I think it might break, but it doesn't mean we won't see small moves. So we have to be, trading with caution. Even on the daily chart here, I'm not going to lie, the euro as a swing trader has not really been on my watch list lately. It's just like, yeah, momentum is down, but there's really no trend. If you guys follow me, you guys know I'm a trend trader only really at this point in my trading career. I only really trade with the trend, and then I enter on lower time frames, and my daily is my higher time frame, and there's really no trend here. Yes, the momentum is down. I would agree that the overall kind of trend is down, but a trend for me is what involves a trend line, so I'm more looking for something like that to take place. So even as we push down into this demand down here in the daily chart, you might get excited, ooh, a buying point, but not really. The demand was created back here at 1.06 all the way back in December. So the demand was already used up once, and if you look, it was really used up like a lot, halfway through, multiple times. So it's really not an area that we really want to be getting in long at without confirmation. So with that being said, we kind of have a potential trap set up here, a support level, if you will, right there. So what I think could happen is we actually do react to the upside off of this demand, just purely based off of that. But it doesn't mean we just want to get in long. So with that being said, we still have actually profit margin to the downside to 1.06. So I think day trading shorts is actually still okay. And if you go to a 1-hour chart here, these are really your only two options for day trading shorts. We either need to wait for a pullback to this 1-hour supply at 1.07, and then we can look for confirmation shorts to the downside on a 5-minute time frame, Or if we break this 1 hour demand like this, and if we're left with new 1 hour supply, you can do the same thing here that I just said we could do up there, where we wait for the pullback and look for confirmation shorts off of that zone. So that's really the only two short trade options, but trade with caution there, because like I said, back to this daily chart, we still could see the move down to there, and then we're going to rally up. So definitely look to take profits at this daily demand at about 1.06, and then from there we could actually look for potential swing trading long trades or day trading long trades. And how we would do that would actually be, the safest thing would be to do is go on this 4 hour time frame and look for confirmation by simply removing this downward trend line. So, and if we're left with 4 hour demand, that would be your confirmation entry right there. So a little bit confusing here on the Euro US dollar. Just wanted to give you guys the two different situations as far as day trading goes and swing trading goes. So to be clear and to summarize again, swing trading longs must wait till daily demand is hit, or for 4 hour confirmation, or both. And then for day trading shorts, like I said, we need to wait for a 1 hour supply zone up here, or a new 1 hour supply zone down there after we remove demand on the Euro US dollar. On to the forecast for gold. The past week, the banks got rid of 98 longs and they added 14,044 shorts. If you look right here on the daily chart, we have tested this downward trend line now. What was created back here, tested once, coming in for a second test now. Question for you guys, do you think that this trend line, we will break it, or do you think we're going to go back down to 1870, which is my short target there? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. That being said, yes, the trend line is in control. We still have profit margin to the downside. Looking at the weekly chart, the top left here, we have profit margin down to 1870. But if you look on the 1 hour chart here, we clearly broke out of this overall 1 hour downtrend, leaving us with not only one, but two demand zones here at 1919 and 1911. Both of these zones are good. The problem with two zones like this is, sometimes this one will break and go down on the downside. So you can do a lot of things here. Remember, these zones are not inside of any daily zones. So this confirmation really is just in the middle of nowhere. If you think about it in real estate, confirmation would be a good piece of property in a nice location. Now this 1 hour zone, these two 1 hour zones would be nice properties, but in a bad location or in the middle of nowhere. Maybe that's not what you like. I personally would like to live in the middle of nowhere, but I'm just trying to make a point here where this confirmation is not really in any higher time frame zone. So we have to be taken with a grain of salt, which means we have to use the H1 time frame in this one. This is the H1 time frame. We have to use this as our higher time frame, which means if price pushes down here, we need to look for confirmation longs on a 5-minute time frame. So we could see a move off of this zone, or if we break below to this zone, we could see a move off of that zone. Remember, confirmation is definitely going to be needed because, like I said, those 1 hour zones, if you look at the daily chart, they're really not inside of any buying area here. That's great. And the overall trend is down. That's why we need that confirmation. And then as far as shorts go, I'm really not seeing a whole lot for shorts. Like I said, the profit margin is down to 1870, which is all the way down here. So it's a lot of profit margin. But to be clear, we need to at least see this 1 hour change character again, essentially by removing this zone. So if you are more short biased and you want to ignore both of these zones, that's fine. But for shorts, we need to see at least one of these zones removed, a fresh 1 hour supply zone, and then a potential short trade off of that supply zone. So for shorts, like I said, we need to start seeing these zones removed in order for me to feel comfortable. Because in order for a trend to turn around and start trending to the upside, this is what needs to happen, right? So we need to prove that the zones that made this change of character happen are going to be removed. And so that's why I need to see those zones removed. On to the forecast for the USDJPY. The past week, the banks added 2,810 long contracts, and they also added 1,233 contracts to the short side. So looking at the weekly chart here, top down, remember we are into weekly supply at 146 right now, and this supply isn't looking like it's going to hold. We usually want to see sharp moves to the downside. Although, yes, it doesn't always work out like that. We could just continue to see the move to the downside there. But remember, on the daily chart, we have very, very strong trends, which means that we could continue to see price go up. And when a weekly supply zone comes in contact with a daily uptrend, we really kind of still have to be looking for longs. In my opinion, just based on my personal experience and how I personally like to trade, we just need to be taking every zone with a grain of salt and making sure that it's the highest quality zones. So I'll be very clear, as long as we have a daily uptrend, I'm okay with continuing to look for longs in the USDJPY because I know my strategy and I know my system, and I know that even though the weekly supply is in control, we could still see price move to the upside. Right away, I'm noticing at 147.52, this 4-hour demand zone, this zone was responsible for not only removing demand, but also a high and continuing the uptrend. So if we do pull back down to this demand at 147.52, I think it's a good area. The problem with this zone is if we don't get the pullback like right away like this, and instead we get something like this where it's like, where it's like right like this and it's below the trend line, then it's not really my favorite setup. So we're going to monitor that, and even better, we actually have a little 1-hour zone that is embedded inside of it at about 147.47. So 1-hour demand zone here, we could see a move off of those zones. But remember, like I said, the weekly supply is in control, so we definitely could see price push down, but I wouldn't even consider shorting or not going in long until we can get something like this, where we not only remove demand, but the clean upper trend line as well. And if we have 4-hour supply, then we could look to potentially short that as some sort of confirmation trade. But as we have pushed into weekly supply already, we've seen confirmation trades fail multiple times, right? And that's because of the fact that the daily trend is still up. So as long as we have a daily trend to the upside, as long as we have a 4-hour trend to the upside, in my opinion, it's longs all the way here, as long as we have those trends. All right, on to the GBPUSD forecast. The past week, the banks added 4,720 longs, and they also added 4,930 short contracts. Now, looking at the pound, if you guys remember, I pointed out this weekly demand zone that we are inside of right now. So you can see this zone is being tested very, very deep. We're almost 3/4 of the way in now. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm thinking we're going to break this zone. I've been waiting for the zone for a while, and I'm thinking we're going to break it. We haven't really seen any evidence of that zone holding just yet. If you look at the 4-hour chart here, we actually caught a beautiful 4-hour short trade off 4-hour supply right there on the GBPUSD, and profits are still running. And that was from the daily market breakdown video. I pointed this one out to the Diamond members. Check it out. Links in the description down below. And we also have a lifetime access as well if you guys don't want to pay those monthly fees. So check it out. You'll get access to potential trades like this and my daily chart analysis, Sunday Zoom sessions, and much more. So this trade working out great. And I want to say that there's a setup here in the pound for you guys, but I'm really not seeing it. That's why I have the daily market breakdown videos throughout the week, so we can find trades like this that come up. So as far as the pound goes now, you can clearly see here on the daily chart, we have a nice supply zone here. If we start to actually rally up in the pound, we could definitely see a move off of that daily supply zone, and that would kind of make a clean looking daily downtrend. I definitely think that's a possibility. It's obviously all going to revolve around the DXY, but as far as the pound goes now, as long as we have a 4-hour downtrend, 1-hour downtrend, I personally think it's shorts on day trading timeframes all the way here on the GBPUSD. We either need to wait for new 4-hour or 1-hour supply zones to look for shorts at, or like I said, the daily supply as well. On to the forecast for the USDCAD. The past week, the banks added 11,457 longs, and they also got rid of 5,463 shorts. Last week's forecast, I talked about this purple zone up here at 1.37. I was talking about, I think we could pull back down to here, fuel up for that move up to the upside. But this daily demand is not looking great. It hasn't been removed just yet. We still need to see a candle close below. And even if it does, we still could rally up. So we could still be looking for longs here in the USDCAD. I actually pointed out something to the Diamond members as well in the daily market breakdown. I was saying we need to see this zone removed, and then we could look for longs in any 1-hour zone that removes that zone. And that would have been your confirmation setup right here. So just a great example of how confirmation can actually, save you from a loss. So basically, price pushed down into here. We had daily demand take control. We want to look for confirmation by removing this supply. And if you look, we had a beautiful reaction off that supply. What actually would have been a great trade, but it would have been against the daily demand. So kind of a save right there. Just wanted to kind of point that one out. And as far as the USDCAD goes now, I'm really not seeing any clean looking areas to look for longs here. With that being said, we have 4-hour demand in control right now. So this could be the point where we go from 4-hour demand to 4-hour supply at 1.36. But like I said, it's very, very tested here. So I'm not super confident. And looking back at that daily demand again on the USDCAD, it's just tested really deeply and it's not looking great. So a little bit of a confusing time here in the USDCAD. Really no trends except for on the 1-hour chart. So definitely a difficult one to trade. We definitely need to wait for some sort of change of character or some sort of trend. On to the Aussie US dollar forecast. The past week, the banks got rid of 6,723 longs and they got rid of 10,727 shorts. Remember, weekly demand is in control here on the Aussie US dollar, but we do have that daily downtrend as well. So definitely looking weak. Shorts are definitely on the table. I'm not going to lie, I did take a loss here on the Aussie US dollar. Took this 1 hour supply zone short from back here. Nice reaction off of it. Ended up moving my stop to half loss. So I ended up with a half risk loss here. Fortunately, price ended up going in my direction anyway. So in the meantime, you want to look for shorts in the Aussie. You can look for shorts up here at 1 hour supply at 0.646. And that's really all I'm seeing here on the Aussie US dollar. We still have overall trend of the downside in the 4 hour chart. So like I said, shorts are okay, but with the weekly demand in control, it's really no wonder that my trade kind of stopped out. That's why I was aggressive with my stop loss and bumped it to half risk based on the weekly demand kind of being in control. So as far as the Aussie US dollar goes, we just need to kind of be patient here, wait for new 1 hour zones to be formed, or look for trades off the 1 hour supply above. USDCHF, the past week the banks added 1,528 longs and they also got rid of 2,485 shorts. Remember, weekly supply is in control, but we are testing almost 3/4 of the way in now. Not looking great, but it doesn't mean we can't look for shorts. Onto the daily chart, daily zone embedded inside of the overall weekly supply zone. So we definitely could see the move from daily supply to daily demand. With that being said, how do we go about and trade this one? Well, we actually had a nice reaction off of this 1 hour demand right now. So for confirmation shorts, we need to see this where we remove demand, it's proven demand, and the upward trend line. So if we get this, leaving us with a 1 hour supply zone, that would be your confirmation trade. Remember, I do have confirmation trading video lessons in the video lessons A to Z in the membership as well. So that's pretty much what I'm waiting for here on the USD Swiss. And if you want to continue to trade the uptrend on the 4 hour and the 1 hour chart, that's fine. Just remember the weekly supply and the daily supply is in control. So we could see moves to the downside, but you could be right. You could be right that this is a new trend to the upside and everything's going to be changing. Obviously, that's completely possible. It's almost impossible to predict that. That's why you need to stick with your strategy. So if you want to continue to trade with the overall 4 hour and 1 hour uptrend, I highly suggest only doing it on day trading timeframes, meaning a 1 minute or a 5 minute chart instead of a swing trading timeframe, because in my opinion, the swing trading time frame right now on the weekly chart and the daily chart is pointing to the downside. So as far as the USD Swiss goes, 1 hour, 4 hour uptrend means day trading longs are certainly on the table. And then for confirmation trades, like I said, we need to wait for a change of character confirmation on the 1 hour chart. Last but not least, onto crude oil. The past week, the banks added 28,326 longs and they added 777 shorts. Weekly supply pointed out that we said we could see a move to the downside off of. Tested basically 50% of the way in. Looking weak. It could be a potential trap. We could definitely see the price pull back, so we definitely need to be trading with caution. But remember, daily trend to the upside, it's really longs all the way. Heartbreaking situation for me today here on oil. It's definitely difficult to look at this one as we had a beautiful 4 hour demand zone. I was pointing this one out to the Diamond members as well in the daily market breakdown video last night. Nice 4 hour demand zone. I also identified this beautiful 1 hour demand zone inside of it. And if you look, my order was missed by probably a pip or whatever it was. Just missed. My 5-to-1 TP would have been hit. And that's very unfortunate, but it is what it is. At least I can say, hey, the analysis was correct and I should be happy with that. So that being said, I really don't see any merit to trading oil right now. If we get a pullback down to this demand zone to 88.10, I definitely have my eyes on that demand zone as well, as I think it's a decent area. And then for shorts, I really don't see any reason to be shorting. You're shorting against a daily uptrend, 4 hour uptrend, and 1 hour uptrend. Fortunately, the trade already worked out, and unfortunately, I didn't get filled, but it is what it is. Just wanted to point that out. Just wanted to kind of be honest with you guys. I point out a loss, couple wins. This unfortunate event, right? This happens to all of us, right? This isn't just a thing that happens to new traders. I've been trading for quite a long time now, and this happens to me every now and then, right? And you just got to deal with it. Honestly, it sucks. I didn't let it ruin my day. I just continue to look for the next trade. So as far as oil goes now, as long as we have 4 hour, 1 hour uptrends and daily uptrends, it's really longs on all time frames like the 1 minute, 5 minute, 50 minute, and even the H1 chart, just like this one here. And if you guys want to watch the full length forecast with all the other markets, make sure to subscribe to the channel membership to get access.